Welcome back for another idiotic session of whatever this video is that we're doing, kind of talking cars. And today we've got Mike Musto with us. Mike, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Yeah, good, good. What is your title these days?
So as of early 2020, I am the director of new media for Hemmings.
Wow, that's and how did that work out? 2020 started. I know you had all these plans. What happened?
Yeah, no, it actually, I feel super fortunate. A lot of people are and granted, a lot of crap has happened during 2020 that we know. But I started doing some consulting for Hemmings towards the end of 2019, and and the more we talked, the more I figured out exactly kind of what they wanted to do. So conversations progressed. And they said, "Would you be interested in coming on full time?" And it was one of those things where I was like, wait a minute, you mean that I can get to do everything that I've done for the last 15 years, but do it for one company as opposed for 27? And they said, yes. And I was like, I think I like the sound of this. And yeah, so that was that. So I came on full time, and it's been outstanding ever since.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I know there's lots of things planned at Hemmings.
Yep.
Lots of things got put on hold, but there's still a lot cooking in the background. So we look forward to seeing all that when it comes out. That's going to be awesome.
Cool.
And I see the COVID beard. Have you had that trimmed up?
I mean, it's I don't know, the COVID beard. This is the beard that I grew because my wife one day was just like, just grow a beard, see what it looks like, and that was 2.5 years ago.
And it comes out like that, right?
Yeah, it comes out like this. Like it's got three, new racing stripes in it that are just there. It is what it is. Everybody's like, do you dye it? I go, no, it's the way it is. So, and now I'm just comfortable with it, so I don't think it's going anywhere for a while.
Nice, so, nice. Well, I've got a Haggerty hat firmly planted over my COVID hair.
Yeah.
So, but this is going back. When I couldn't go in and get a haircut, I said, you know what? I'm taking it straight back to 1989. Letting it grow. It's getting shaggy awesome in the back here. So yeah, we're going long again.
Show your daughter what you used to look like back in the day.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So last week we had Jason Camissa on, and we talked electric cars the whole time. We didn't really plan it that way, but it just, it was things that were in the news, and it just evolved. There's some amazing stuff going on with electric cars. And a lot of people, and the industry itself are pretty much, predicting the end of internal combustion engines.
Sure.
But before they go, I think there's not just a last gasp going on, but I think there is almost a renaissance in what can be done with them. So,
yeah, I think so. I mean, it's interesting. Like Newsom, the governor in California, just said that by 2035 that they were going to outlaw the sale of new, not used, but new petrol-driven engines, right? So, and everybody kind of got in an uproar. And it's one of those things. It's evolution and it's progress. You can't really stop that, and nor should you want to. But the future is going to be electric, and I think a lot of people think that I'm fully against it, and that is completely not the case.
Right?
You know what I mean?
You are Mr. Muscle Car, right?
Oh yeah, no,
I mean that's
everything I have. I've got 6 cars. Every single one of them is a V8 except for one. And even my motorcycle sounds like a V8. So it's like, it's just what I happen to love.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I wouldn't go out and I wouldn't own an electric car. I mean, if I was commuting every day and doing that, I don't think there's anything wrong with them at all. It's just not what I, as an individual, want. I want something completely different. I want something that suits my personality. And, that's kind of what I look for in an automobile. So,
well, and we've both had the opportunity to drive some of what I would say are, just the refinement of the internal combustion engine cars lately. We've had our hands on some really great cars.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them is the new C8 Corvette. I haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time in that, but I know you have. And our driving styles are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Our relationship to cars and motorcycles and performance are the same.
Yeah.
So I'm
basically you, but with less hair and a beard.
And better looking, let's face it. Right. Yeah. but what is your impression of the C8? I mean, I've had a lot of time in the C7, and that is, in my estimation, it's 95 to 99% of any supercar out there. It is a true sports car, amazing. I've heard the C8 is a notch above that. Is that true?
Yeah. So I mean, I got to spend a solid week with the C8, and I everything from sitting in traffic to ripping down my favorite back roads. I put about 500 miles on it. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I'm generally not a Corvette guy. I have nothing absolutely against Corvettes. It's just that's not my thing. The C8 is the first Corvette that I've said I would spend my own money on this. I would buy this car, and there are a few reasons for that. There's a lot of criticism about the styling, and sure, the styling it kind of looks, they've got a little F430 Ferrari, they've got a little Acura NSX, they've got a little from kind of everywhere. But it's a good looking car, and I think it's only going to evolve and get better as time goes on, right?
Yeah.
From the drivability standpoint, absolutely, you could get in this thing, you could drive it every day. It's comfortable, it's easy to live with. A lot of people panned the interior when it first came out, which is completely wrong because the interior is 100% driver centric, right? It has a gauge cluster and a console that's actually kind of caters to the driver. The passenger is almost completely cordoned off. I give Chevy full props for doing that because it's a driver's car and it's supposed to be. The passenger is somewhat of an afterthought. The buttons on that kind of center strip that runs down the center they're fantastic. At first, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, and then they're super intuitive. So, and then there's
we may have lost Mike. He froze up on us. Let's see. Oh no, I think we lost him. We'll try to get him back. But the C8 is just a fantastic car. I personally think that Chevy hit the note quite well. Let's see, Mike's chiming in here. You can still see me. I'm going to tell him you froze, and to rejoin. So, if you take a look at the C8 in comparison to the C6. There are some criticisms of the styling, but you can see the lineage. You can see, these are definitely relatable. You can tell they're the same family. And we'll see if we can get Mike back in here. Let's see. Here he comes. There we are.
There we go.
There we go.
Cool.
All right, we got you back. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, it seems like it's usable performance wise. Does it feel? I mean, the Corvettes have always kind of been right in between a Grand Tourer and a sports car. They weren't, depending on how you had them set up, they weren't quite soft enough to really be a Grand Touring car. They weren't quite hardcore enough, at least in base form, to be a true sports car. Mm-hmm. Where does the C8 fall?
I had I guess it's the 2LT package, which was basically loaded. I feel like it's in that iteration. I would say it's more of a grand touring car with serious sporting capabilities. I think you can.
Mike is still freezing up on us.
Am I really?
Oh man. Oh, there you're back. Back.
I'm back. All right, good.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those cars where you can take it out, you can hoon it, you can have a lot of fun with it. But right now, I think it's set up more as a grand touring car. And I think when you see Z06 versions and Z01 versions come out, that's really going to kind of up the ante.
Gotcha.
As far as power goes, I mean, it's 485 or 465 horsepower, something along those lines. I mean, it's plenty fast. And as you and I both know, 99% of the drivers have no concept of how to use that performance, right? They tout numbers and they say, well, it's got 600 horsepower. And it's like, guys, let's face it, you don't have any clue how to use 600 horsepower. Like, you and I have been racing motorcycles and cars for 25 years, okay? We understand what power does. But there is a certain point where there is just too much power. And
Yeah.
regardless of the technology, you can't put it down to the pavement. It becomes a hindrance, right? It's not an asset anymore. And I think for most people, for 99%, this Corvette they're going to love it. I did. I thought it was an outstanding car.
Kind of hit a sweet spot with it. Well, and
Yeah.
let me ask you this. You know, the kind of the big get with the Corvette is that you could get it for just under $60,000. You know, base model. You could go order one that was $120,000, right? With everything tacked on it. Kind of what I was thinking is you don't really need that $120,000 version. I mean, it makes it nice, but if you want for 60 grand, you can go get this car. Everything's going to be available in the aftermarket that you want to tack onto it and make it your own. And you're in for half the price, still have all the performance.
Yeah. So it was really interesting. I mean, you know, I had 3 press cars in succession, 3 pretty great ones. I had a Mercedes-Benz AMG GTR, okay, $200,000 car. I then got the Corvette. After that, I got the brand new Aston Martin's V8 Vantage, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And out of all of them, the Corvette was the one that I would take home.
Yeah.
And yeah, and here's the thing, like the AMG GTR Mercedes, fantastic car. $200,000, an absolute hammer of a vehicle, 4-wheel steering, sounds like a race car. I mean, it's an amazing vehicle. And to its credit, when you drive it and when you get in it, you feel like you're in a $200,000 car, right? You feel like you're in something that special. The Aston Martin, where that was a $185,000 car, was a complete and utter hash. It was a letdown on every cent. The interior was crap. It sounded good, but like it didn't handle that great. The transmission was a converter, not a DCT. It was okay. It felt like a $90,000 car, not a
Okay.
$190,000 car. And then you get into the Corvette, which I think mine stickered at $69,000 or $79,000. I forget what it was, but it was reasonable for the performance. Let's put it that way. And you go, this totally works. This is the sweet spot, and that's what a Corvette. Sorry, that's what a Corvette was meant to be. It was meant to be that kind of sweet spot for everybody to jump in and say, okay, I feel good about spending this amount of money on this amount of performance. But yeah, and like you think Chevrolet's paying me, but they're not paying me a dime. What they did was they just built a good car.
Yeah.
Just built a good car.
And coming, you mentioned it, coming for the Corvette. We know there's a Z06 version coming.
Yeah.
That's supposed to have a flat plane crank, 9,000 RPM. The guesstimation is 625 horsepower, and you're freezing up again. I think we've got connection issues here on my end, because absolutely everybody in my household is on a stream right now. So we'll see if here we go. We'll see if we can get Mike back. So we know that's coming. That has been mentioned. That it is in the works. How much that's going to cost, who knows? There's also been talk of a hybrid version in the works. There we go. We're bringing Mike back in.
Yeah,
this is live, man.
I don't know if it's on your end or my end, but we keep freezing.
I think everybody in my household is streaming right now, so that might be part of it. Yeah, I think my daughter is on her own Zoom call, as is my wife in the other room. So
that'll do.
I was just saying, there's the Z06 version coming. There is a hybrid version coming, which is rumored to be this picture here. So I think the Corvette, the new Corvette platform has some, it has some legs to it.
Sure.
Actually, I kind of see, just when I first looked at it, I went, man, they made this to electrify.
Sure.
This is going to probably be an electric car in the not too distant future. The rumor is there's a ZR1 version coming, a 900 horsepower version that'll put electric motors on the front wheels, and leave a gas motor on the back wheels, and that is just going to be a giant killer.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, right, I think that the Corvette takes a lot of cues from the NSX, from the new Acura NSX. I don't if you'd had a chance to drive one of those, they're absolutely fabulous cars that are, again, in my book, they're completely underrated. I think Chevy is smart, right? They engineered this car to kind of evolve over the next 7 to 10 years, or I wouldn't say 5 years because of its life cycle. But it's going to be a great car. And when we talk about electrification, listen, everything is going to go. Every performance car is going to take that step, right? It's going to be petrol driven,
Right.
go to some type of hybridization, and then eventually go full electric, I think. But as a consumer and as an enthusiast, you have to say, okay, well, what do I actually want? Now,
Right.
like the NSX, fabulous car. You still have an engine noise, a great engine noise, but you still have that torque. And I absolutely loved it. Whereby when I drive full electric cars, you lose a lot of the personality of the car. And that, as somebody who just strives on visceral stuff, I can't do. I would never buy an all electric car, performance car, because it literally does nothing for me. Whereby, and I've driven Teslas, I've driven everything you could think of. So again, for certain cars, you need that sound, you need that visceralness, you need all that stuff. If I want a commuter, sure, electric cars all the way.
Yeah, I think it's coming, and I think Corvette might be leading the pack in it. It's in the plan for this. It's a performance car that we know this is coming to, right?
Yeah.
And we know that those are coming in the form of a Tesla Roadster. We know that Lucid Air is got just a hammer of a car. Yeah. That if they put it in a two-door, they wrap it in a two-door body, boy, they've got a giant killer, right?
Yeah.
So I think the Corvette's kind of leading the way in this, at least for something that's affordable. There's always going to be super high-end European electric cars, but I think the folks at GM aren't dumb, despite the Elante, but. I think this is coming, and I think in a very short amount of time, we're going to see some extraordinarily fast Corvettes.
Oh, I think so too. And I mean, GM is very, very smart, right? Notice that GM hasn't released a hybrid yet. They took cues from, you look at hybrid supercars, right? Look at the 918 Porsche when that first came out, right? People were like, holy crap, look at this. Then you had Acura follow suit, right? And you've got other companies that are jumping on the bandwagon as well. Mercedes and BMW all jumping on that. GM is very smart. They wait till the technology is out there. They wait, they look, they research, and then they infuse it into their customer base very slowly. Because the fact is, it's at day's end, it's still a Chevrolet. It's still a working man supercar, right?
Right.
And it is a supercar. It 0 to 60 in under 4. I think it's 3.9 or some ridiculousness like that. And again, achieving these speeds with this amount of power, most of the public has no idea what to do with this. And I think you and I are we're in an odd situation, right? Because we grew up with carburetors. We grew up with carburetors, so that translates to fuel injection. Now, so that translates to hybrids and electric, right? So we've kind of seen the gamut. I think our generation is probably one of the last that's going to see that. But it's also reassessing how guys like you and I drive. Because when we're on a racetrack, so much of that visceralness, meaning compression braking from an engine, sound, tire noise, squeal, all of that stuff plays into how we drive. Where if you've ever taken an electric vehicle on a racetrack or driven it hard, it's difficult to gauge corner entry and braking and performance. We've seen a lot of people throw these things into off tracks and because so much of that is a visceral thing. So I think in 15 years, drivers are going to look at, or 20 years, drivers are going to look at petrol-driven cars and go, oh, yeah, I don't know if I'd want to drive that. Where guys like you and I, you could prime, you'll never get me to get rid of my old cars with engines. But I also understand where the new tech is going, and you have to embrace it.
Yeah. Well, and here, speaking of a very visceral experience, let's talk the AMG GT.
Yeah, sure.
This is just a crazy car. Like you said, you had the R version, I had the C version.
Mm-hmm.
And it is about as high tech a car without introducing electric motors into it as you can get. I mean, Mercedes and AMG have squeezed every little bit of technology into this. It has active motor mounts. It has active transmission mounts that when you put it in sport mode, they lock up solid. And when you're in comfort mode, it lets everything float. And that's not only for comfort, that is for performance.
Sure.
I mean, it's squeezing every last little bit of power from that engine to those rear wheels. And this thing it's old AMGs were the Velvet Hammer. They were a German muscle car.
Correct.
This to me felt more like a jet fighter.
Yeah, it's interesting with the amount of tech. I mean, the car they're so capable right now. I mean, with the four-wheel steering, it's one of the best sounding cars I've ever driven. It sounds just epic. You know what I mean? You open the taps on this thing, and it's just amazing. We put a lot of miles on this car, enjoyed it. But you get to a point, and I hate to go back and say this is kind of generational, where I don't understand the tech in this car. And I just don't like if active motor mounts and four-wheel steering and everything. The entire dash is 100% digital and all that stuff. And you're talking to somebody whose newest car is 25 years old, right?
It took me about 3 days to figure out how to change the radio station in this car. I mean, and that's not a slam of Mercedes interface or design or anything like that. It's just so complex, and I'm so old,
Well, I don't know if it's like that. I mean, so here's the thing. Cars should be intuitive, right? The main focus of a car is to get you from point A to point B, right? And to do that, you've got three things that you use. You've got your feet, you've got your hands, and you've got your eyes. Okay. With all the tech in the cars, I don't need to spend 5 minutes trying to figure out how to change a radio station. I don't want to spend 5 minutes doing that. I don't want to look through a manual that's 3 inches thick. I don't want to do that. I want to.
You want to have a solid stream connection, which you don't. But we'll dump Mike out there for a minute. This car is extraordinarily capable, and it is also very, very fast. It is also very expensive. The one that I had, stickered in at let's see. Let's tell Mike to rejoin. Mine stickered at about $180,000. The R version that Mike had stickered in at $200,000, which is an awful lot of money to pay for a car, but it does feel like that much money. It didn't make me angry. I've gotten in some cars that, they just make you mad when you get in. It's like, oh wow, it costs that much. Yeah, you can definitely tell where your money went when you get in one of these cars. Very fast, very capable, and gets a ton of looks. It's a very sexy car. Gets a ton of looks wherever you park this. I took mine to Pebble Beach during what would have been Auto Week, drove it up and down Highway 1. There were a bunch of other supercars, even though Auto Week wasn't there. There were Ferraris, Lamborghinis. I fell right in line with them. Nobody batted an eye and said, "What's that car doing here?" It fit right in. I mean, at first I didn't appreciate the looks of the car, but this is an extraordinarily sexy car once you start to really take a peek at it. Here's a picture that'll be in the Star magazine, the Mercedes-Benz Club of America magazine coming up here pretty soon, of the GTC out on Highway 1. But just a supercar all the way around, and kind of exotic. And not just because of the price,
No, it's I think it's definitely, you would categorize this as an exotic car. I mean, the one that I had was 200 grand. Um,
Yeah.
you know, they're great. Like I said, they are straight up supercars. There's no one's ever going to deny that. They've got the speed and the performance and everything else. You know, I think you have to say what you want as a driver. And
Yeah.
I think the tech, the days are long gone of you working on your own car. Though
Yeah.
that's dead, right? You know, and that, it concerns me a little bit, because there is something to operating a machine of any sort where you want to know how it works. And I don't know how this works. I just
Yeah.
I just
Uh,
don't, right?
that
I
was
hit the
my only
button.
concern was driving this and looking at the sticker, and then looking down the list of all the cool stuff that's going on, the active motor mounts, the rear wheel steering, and then I
Yeah.
thought, how long's the warranty?
Well,
you
that's
know,
dude, that's the whole thing, right? You look at this thing and you go, all right, this is a lease, not a buy. And God forbid you buy one of these second hands,
yeah,
right? Because in 10 or 15 years, this thing's obsolete. We know that.
right,
So are you still going to be able to get that center screen if the LCD readout takes a dump? Are you going to be able to get whatever widget craps out or whatever the case? I don't know, right? What I do know is that I can still go buy every part that I need for my 68 Charger or my 96 Bronco, and I could put it back to, and those cars are, my 68 Broncos, it's over 50 years old. My 68 Charger, my Bronco is 25 years old. I could fix everything on that myself, and I could still get every single part,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
On
These,
these,
ah, yeah. Well, and that's as much as I like my friends at Mercedes Benz, I think they're going to see a pretty steep depreciation curve coming along fairly quickly once the tech evolves,
oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
I would love to have one of these. I would love to have it for about 2 years. And
I
I think,
totally agree.
wow, Mike, you went away somehow for no reason. I can still hear you.
Okay, I'll try to log off and log back in again.
Log back off and log back in again. In the meantime, here is, what we're going to do. We are going to show a video from Mercedes-Benz of the Black Series. They've saved this name for the very pinnacle of performance at AMG, and they have come out with an AMG GT Black Series. It is the most powerful road car that AMG Mercedes has ever made. Over 700 horsepower, just a phenomenal beast. And let's take a peek at it here. And we got Mike coming back in here. So hopefully. Nope, I don't think we have Mike. So anyway, I can see Mike, but just barely. There we go. I think you're still froze up on us, Mike. Here, let me send him a note. So anyway, just a great car. The Black Series is the pinnacle of it. Just an absolutely amazing looking car. And $389,000 is what the Black Series runs. So you're not going to see too many of these out on the street. If you do take a peek at it, it is destined to be a future classic. Let's see if we can get Mike in again, and he is still frozen. No bueno. Well, talking about technology, And technology going bad in a couple of years. We have technology going bad right here. But this car, if you get a chance to see one, take a look at it. You think about the DTM cars of the past, that DTM and Black Series cars that Mercedes has put out. They are revered as some of the very rare, very well thought of cars today. And I think that's going to be the case with this one. There are a few of them out in America. You got to know where to look. But they are quite the sight. It's basically a race car with turn signals, and that's about it. Very, very amazing car. The sound is fantastic. And we'll see if we can get Mike back in here again. If we can't, in the meantime, I will vamp just a little bit and let you know that the Lemons Rally, the Fall Failage Tour, is coming up next weekend. It starts, I believe, on Thursday or Friday at Loudon, New Hampshire. And we're going to go all around the Northeast. We're going to take in the fall colors. We're going to drop parts and oil everywhere we go. It's going to be a great time. Please look to the 24 Hours of Lemons Facebook page and Instagram account for photos on that. You can follow along with the rally by looking at the Lemons Rally hashtags on Instagram and see all the pictures. The way we conduct the rally is the cars, the groups go out. They take pictures of themselves, their cars, next to a checkpoint. You get points for that as you go. We do the scoring at night, and it's a way for y'all to follow along with what we're doing and see where these people have been. We go not your typical spots. There might be, a scenic overlook. That's cool. But if we can make you stop at the Museum of the American House Cat, that's what a Lemons Rally is about. This is not an all-inclusive rally. It doesn't cost tens of thousands of dollars. It's dirt cheap. We want you to drive a crappy car. We want you to wear costumes. We want you to have a theme. Most of all, we want you to have fun and interact safely with your fellow rally participants. And it is a good time. It's about 200 miles a day. We have found out that people don't like the road hammer type of rallies where you're putting in 500-600 miles a day. So we've brought it back down a little bit, made it a little bit more fun, made it more about interacting, having a good time, having time to recount stories from the day at the end of the day. So look for that on Instagram and the 24 Hours of Lemons Facebook page. Look for more of those rallies in 2021, if we're all still alive then. We have some really bad ideas planned. We're looking at doing one in the Northwest. We are looking at doing one in the Midwest. We have our typical ones on the East Coast and the West Coast. We have a couple of longer ones. We do have a Route 66 rally. Again, all about having a good time, all about doing it in a really, really inappropriate car. You get more points for that. You get more points for themes and costumes. And you get points for doing stupid stuff along the way. So check that out. Go to the 24 Hours of Lemons page for that. And it doesn't look like Mike is going to make it back. So we have blithered for about 35 minutes. Wait a second. Let's get him back in here. Maybe we got him. Let's see. He's coming in hot. You're still there. Woohoo! We're back.
Yeah, I restarted, reset everything. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh no. Well, I was just saying, I ran a video of the AMGTC Blacks or AMGT Black Series, which is 700 horsepower.
Yeah.
$389,000. Just a ridiculous car.
Yeah.
I mean, way over the top. Speaking of ridiculous car, let's talk Aston Martin.
Sure.
You didn't have high praise for it there.
No.
Let's. So you had the Aston Martin Vantage.
Yeah, I was so excited to get this car. because I'm just a fan of Aston Martin as a marquee. And you know, it has the same engine as the GTC Mercedes, same motor, right?
Oh, okay, right, yeah,
Yeah, same exact engine. So the engine's great, but the
sure.
drivetrain and the suspension and the interior are complete and utter letdowns.
Oh,
You know, the interior is, you know, and some are going to disagree with me, and I think, and that's obviously okay. The interior is just wall to wall Alcantara. It's like a cow threw up and it just everywhere.
like they couldn't figure out what to do and just said cover it in Alcantara, done.
Yeah, you know, the nav screen is this kind of dull satin black plastic. It doesn't look good. It just feels old. It feels 10 years old. And this is a brand new car. The engine, fabulous. Engine's outstanding, amazing exhaust note. But the problem is, where like the Mercedes and the Corvette had actual dual clutch transmissions, this is an old converter, and it's slow and it's sluggish. It doesn't feel like $180,000 car. Is it fast? Yeah, it's very fast. Does it sound good? Sounds amazing. Does it handle? Okay. All right, it handles okay.
Right.
But it felt like a $100,000 car, not $180,000 car. Whereby,
so line it next to the AMG GT, same
it's
price.
not even in the same ballpark. I mean, the Mercedes is just so far above and beyond what the Aston is from a mechanical standpoint, from a drivability standpoint, from an appearance standpoint. The Mercedes was outstanding. The Aston was not. I would take the Corvette over the Vantage in a heartbeat. I wouldn't think twice about that.
Yeah.
And I could buy 3 Corvettes.
Buy 3 of them. Yeah.
I buy 3 for what that car costs.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not going to like me for saying that, but I really don't care because, I mean, build a better car and I'll say better things.
You know, and I think what it comes down to is people fall in love with the looks of the Aston Martin. It is sexy, although the first thing that I pulled up this picture and I went, huh, look, it's the new Lexus, the new LC 500 or whatever it is, right? I went, but for the grill, kind of looks the same, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the headlights could have come off the Miata. It's just, I feel like it's, you know, the old Vantage, the old Aston Martin Vantage were beautiful cars. They were just, every line was perfect. They were just great. I don't know. Like I said, I was very disappointed. I think the looks are okay. I think the back of the car is beautiful, but it's just not, it's not what I think of when I think of Aston Martin. I think it's a money grab. It felt like a park car.
Oh, well, that's fair. You know, you got to call them like you see them. You know, and maybe that's what it is, and they're banking on the DBX, right? And which is the new hotness for everyone these days is put out an SUV.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, you know, listen. Nobody's perfect. Everybody misses the mark at times. I just think they missed the mark with this car. But again, and coming out of the Mercedes and the Corvette, that's what's the biggest problem, because when you get into that Mercedes, it was just great. It was everything you touched, everything you said. It just felt like such a quality piece of engineering. Even though I don't understand it, it still felt like such a quality piece of engineering that you go, I understand where the money is in this car. Where the Aston, I think they're banking too much on the name and not enough on the car.
Well, and that's when you were off. One thing that I said is the, you know, mine was $189,000 sticker price on the AMG GTC, and it didn't make me angry. I've got in some cars that I look at the sticker and look at the car and it upsets me, right?
Yeah.
And this didn't. It's like, oh, I can tell where that money went, right? It felt like it. It looked like it. It certainly goes like it.
Correct.
And it gets the attention and all that. It fits in with other supercars.
Yep.
And to say that it feels like a half price car, that goes, that would make me angry.
Yeah. Yes, you're 100% on point with that. Absolutely correct. Yeah.
Whereas I can get a $60,000 Corvette and destroy
fantastic.
them all. Yeah, and feel fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, and put a down payment on a house, right? So
it's true. Very, very
so, well, Mike, I want to thank you. I know you've got an appointment coming up. I think we've probably blithered long enough and put a lot of people to sleep. I want to thank you for coming on. Anything coming up? Give us a tease. What's going on?
So for 2021 in Hemmings, yeah, you're going to see an entirely new suite of programming. We've got 6 new video series that are coming out with a brand new YouTube channel that are going to cover everything from new cars to car buying and selling to car culture and muscle cars to 80s and 90s cars. Like, we're literally running the gamut.
Gotcha.
Which is great. I mean, that's something that they put me in charge of, and we're really going to have some great content. For my own personal cars, things are rolling. I mean, the Daytona is going under the knife in about a month and a half, and we're going to do a full red eye swap from front to back. So that'll be a 850 horsepower ridiculous car, which is probably going to be undrivable, but like, you only live once, so screw it, you might as well do it.
Sure, yeah.
But otherwise, that's it. I just keep driving different cars and playing with motorcycles, the same as you, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, once it rains a little bit and the forests aren't completely, a tinderbox and on fire, bring that Bronco up and we will go drive some fire roads up in the Sierras, which is what that thing is made for. If you don't mind getting it dirty, right?
No, hell no, dude. I've taken it off road dozens of times. It's great. I love it.
I got to tell you, I had a 1983 Bronco that was my daily driver for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. Beats the heck out of you. Not a good daily driver. I sold it years ago, sold it for next to nothing. I just happened to look up Broncos, 80s and 90s Broncos the other day. They're expensive as heck. When did that happen?
So it's interesting. I mean, one sold on I think it was BAT for 90 grand. And it
with like 200 miles. Yeah.
But still, like,
yeah.
What they're going for, what old SUVs are going for now is mind-boggling. And being on the West Coast, we don't have the rust and stuff, so clean ones are easy to find.
Right.
But like, I've been offered mid-20s for mine, and I'm like, it's a 96 Bronco, right? Like, this is not worth 25 grand. It's not. So, I mean, I got it because I wanted a good daily driver that I could fix. That's exactly what it is. But I wouldn't pay 25 grand for that thing.
I think the key to that is you said clean ones. And these were, the Broncos got used up. They got beat up. You don't see them on the road like you used to, right? Yeah. They're getting thin, and the really nice ones are even thinner.
Yeah. And I mean, I should say this. It's as a daily driver, and I do drive it every day, it's fantastic, right? It's what an SUV should be. It is, it doesn't get great gas mileage, but it's got a massive 33-gallon fuel tank. It's comfortable. It's completely analog. Everything, and like, I put a CarPlay stereo in it with navigation and hands-free calling and stuff like that. But it just works. The biggest issue that you see with old SUVs is the progress that everything else has made. So, for instance, everybody on the highway in California, everybody drives at 80, 85 miles an hour.
Not so much in the Bronco.
No, yeah. You're doing 70, 75. That's where it wants to be. But they were never meant to go that fast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but around town, and I do take it on road trips all the time, taking it to LA many times. You just sit in the right lane with the cruise control on 75 and lump along as everybody passes you in the left lane. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Getting about 8 miles a gallon. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So.
Yeah,
but it's fine. It's fine. I mean, there are plenty of hybrids and electric cars that allow me to drive my 10 miles to the gallon Bronco. So I'm good with that.
Perfect. Well, Mike, I want to thank you so much for wasting your time to do this with us. And people can go to the Hemmings YouTube channel. I know you and Dan Stoner are doing a podcast as well.
Yeah. So if you go to just if you're listening to our new podcast, just go to Hemmings Hot Rod Barbecue on YouTube. Look that up. You will find it, of which obviously you're going to have to be a guest on that soon. We can talk more cars, which would be fun.
Sure.
Talk everything lemons on that one. But yeah, just go check it out. It's every Tuesday morning at 4:15 a.m. Pacific time. That sucker goes live.
Why then?
Just because that's when the East Coast at 7 o'clock in the morning, they get theirs, we get ours. It's all.
There you go.
Yeah, every Tuesday morning, new episode of Hot Rod Barbecue comes up.
All right. Well, awesome. Look for that. And I'd like to thank you all for wasting your time watching this. And if you keep watching it, we're just dumb enough to keep doing them. So look for more of these. Mike, thanks a bunch. And we will see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.
All righty, man.
See you later.